At the beginning, two girls were sitting in a restaurant talking to each other. One of them asked if the other had gotten a boyfriend, wondering how that was possible since they attended an all-girls school. She questioned whether they had met at a party or through an app. The narrator then explained that Sarisa Hazumi, a first-year student in high school, dreamed of experiencing a love story like those in shoujo manga. The girls continued talking while two boys stared at them. One of the girls mentioned that her boyfriend was someone she met at work, and the other called her lucky. The narrator then explained that the number of years Sarisa had gone without a boyfriend was equal to her age. Sarisa thought to herself that she wanted a boyfriend too. A new scene appeared where Sarisa was running, thinking about how in middle school she had always been busy with clubs and that using apps and attending group meetups had all been failures. Even trying the cliché of running with a slice of bread in her mouth for a chance encounter had not worked. The other girl laughed at her and suggested that Sarisa should try getting a part-time job. Sarisa then thought about it, considering that even if she said she wanted a boyfriend, it was not as if just anyone would do. She wished for a love story that began with a fateful encounter with someone sincere. After that, the other girl left the restaurant while Sarisa thought to herself that maybe she should try getting a part-time job too. Suddenly, someone from behind called out to her, saying he had heard she wanted a boyfriend. It was a guy, and with a smug expression, he asked if she wanted him to be her boyfriend. Sarisa immediately thought that he was a player, and not her type at all. The boy grabbed Sarasa's hand, and Sarisa imagined that the kind of guy who would come to help her in such a situation, someone like a Prince Charming, was her type. Just then, a boy appeared between Sarisa and the other guy, stopping him from holding her hand. The boy who saved Sarisa asked if she was okay, matching exactly the type Sarisa had imagined. Sarisa looked at him, and after a moment, she asked to be allowed to work there. Then the scene shifted, revealing that a month had passed since that day, and Sarasa's one-sided love at work continued. The boss arranged their shifts so that Sarisa and Itaru Mishiba worked together, knowing about Sarasa's feelings for him. All of Sarasa's co-workers were kind, creating a pleasant atmosphere for her to work in. Sarisa thought that all she had left to do was to try to get closer to Itaru Mishiba. One of Sarasa's co-workers commented that it was crazy how Itaru didn't look like a second-year high school student at all, adding that he was really handsome. Sarisa, startled, apologized. But the co-worker reassured her, saying it was fine, and encouraged her by saying she could do it, counting on her. Sarisa replied that she would take care of it, and told her to leave it to her. As Sarisa struggled to open a jar, she thought to herself that it wouldn't open, and that in such moments she needed to put her heart into it. Then Itaru came over, told her to leave it to him, and effortlessly opened the jar she had been struggling with. Sarisa thanked him, thinking that it was their first time talking to each other beyond simply exchanging greetings. Itaru told her not to worry, and that she could feel free to rely on him more. Sarisa thought to herself that he was always making all the effort by himself, and that since they were almost the same age, it probably would have been easier for him if she had talked to him more. She realized that he was paying attention to her, and thought that it made her happy, inwardly cheering in excitement. Itaru, noticing her enthusiasm, remarked that she spoke very loudly as he walked away. Sarisa then said that Mishiba was really amazing. The scene then shifted to Sarisa talking with her boss. The boss asked how things were going between her and Itaru. Sarisa admitted that she was the only one in love. The boss suggested that she invite Itaru to the O's, saying that it might be nice. Sarisa thought to herself that Yo's meant Japanese hot pot, but the boss clarified that he was talking about rakugo, which is a form of comedic storytelling. He added that he was sure Itaru would love it. Sarisa said that it was a pretty fancy choice, but thought that if they spent some time together, it could be really nice. She thanked the manager for the suggestion. Then, noticing Itaru nearby, she decided to try inviting him, thinking speaking of the devil. Itaru asked her what was wrong, and Sarisa replied that it had been so crowded that day. Itaru thought to himself that he had just arrived, so he couldn't really tell. Then the scene showed Sarisa thinking to herself that she had ruined everything. She started running off, calling out that she was coming, and suggesting they run away. Frustrated, she wondered how to properly invite a guy while continuing to serve customers, saying she would take their order. When she looked up, she was surprised to recognize someone, realizing it was the same girl from the other day. The two guys from before had returned. They grabbed Sarasa's hand again, telling her to sit with them and have a little chat. Nervously, Sarisa refused, asking them to excuse her. At that moment, someone interrupted, saying, "Please excuse us." It was Itaru who told the men that their restaurant did not offer that kind of service while removing their hand from Sarisa. Sarisa thought that just as she had imagined, Itaru was really cool. She grabbed Itaru's hand thinking that he was like a prince. The scene then shifted to Sarisa, thinking about how much she wished he would fall for her. Later, as she was leaving, she heard someone say goodbye and saw Mishiba. She thanked him for helping her earlier, admitting that she hadn't known what to do in that situation. Mishiba gently patted her head and teased her, saying that she had approached him like she was flirting the other day. Sarisa blushed deeply, flustered by his words. Mishiba reminded her that he had told her she could rely on him, and that if something was wrong, they should look out for each other, encouraging her not to hesitate to call him. The scene shifted again, showing Sarisa thinking about how kind Itaru was. Itaru then called out to her asking how long she was planning to stand there, and told her to get ready quickly because he would take her home. Sarisa was shocked and asked what he meant. Itaru explained that since those guys from earlier might still be around, it could be risky for her. Sarisa thanked him, thinking that she really wanted to like him, but the more she got to know him, the more she found herself falling for him. They both walked out of the restaurant together. When they reached the spot where they were to part ways, Itaru asked if she was sure she wanted him to leave her there. Sarisa said yes, explaining that her father was coming to pick her up. Then she suddenly thought that this might be her chance to invite him to the Rakugo Theater. As he waved goodbye, Sarisa reached out, grabbed his hand, and asked if he would be free that Saturday. With a confused expression, Itaru said her name, and Sarisa, blushing and nervous, told him that she would like to go listen to Rakugo with him. Itaru then exclaimed in surprise, asking if Sarisa also enjoyed Rakugo. Sarisa replied that she was just a beginner, but that her boss had told her Itaru liked Rakugo. She nervously asked if it was okay for him. Itaru reassured her that he would actually love to go. Sarisa was surprised and asked if he really meant it. Itaru reminded her that she had been the one to invite him, and added that he would contact her later. It was the first time Sarisa saw him smile, and she thought to herself that she wasn't sure if she could handle discovering even more sides of him that she didn't yet know. The scene then shifted to the Rakugo Performance Theater. Itaru approached Sarisa and asked her what she thought. Sarisa said that she had actually heard the story recently and really enjoyed it, thinking that it had been a good idea to review beforehand. Itaru then told her that he never got tired of looking at her while she laughed, and that she was the first person to tell him such things. He continued explaining that he had always been very close to his grandfather and would normally only come to a place like this with him. So being able to come with her made him really happy. He thanked her for inviting him. Sarisa blushed thinking about what she should do when he said things like that and looked at her in that way. She thanked him for the day. Later on the train, Sarisa thought that she didn't want to go home just yet. As the train approached Funabashi Station, the speaker announced that passengers should exit from the left side. Many people began leaving the train. Itaru apologized and squeezed closer to Sarisa. Blushing, Sarisa thought to herself that it was way too intense and tried to adjust her position. He told her that she was tickling him and asked her to stop moving. Sarisa blushed even harder, feeling like her heart might burst and that she was turning into stone. Her heartbeat pounded wildly, and she realized it wasn't just hers. Maybe Itaru's heart was racing too. The scene shifted back to the restaurant. Sarisa wondered if there could really be something between them, though she worried she might just be getting carried away. The manager told her to calm herself down. Sarisa apologized, realizing she couldn't concentrate on her work at all. She bowed again, flustered and embarrassed by how distracted she was thinking about Itaru. The scene then shifted to Sarisa, lamenting that she had already broken at least 5 plates. Feeling miserable, Mishiba approached her and thanked Izumi for her hard work, then asked if they could walk home together, saying there was something he wanted to tell her. Sarisa panicked and sighed, thinking it was impossible and that she never imagined Mishiba would invite her. Could this really be the first time? Mishiba then noticed that Izumi seemed different today and asked if something had happened. Izumi made a silly face, thinking there was no way she could admit that he had been affecting her like this. Mishiba reassured her, telling her that if anything was wrong, she shouldn't hesitate to talk to him. Izumi decided she needed to practice being honest. Mishiba then explained that he hadn't called out to her only for that reason. He asked if she would want to go listen to Rakugo again someday. Sarisa was surprised but answered that she would love to. Holding his hand, she felt as if their roles had reversed from their last moment together. Silently, she whispered in her heart that she loved him and asked if he would go out with her, essentially confessing to him. Mishiba answered that of course he would, saying he felt happy whenever he was with her, and he hugged her. Sarisa then asked if that meant Mishiba was now her boyfriend. Getting close to her face, Mishiba said that was exactly the kind of thing he loved about her and kissed her. The story ended with Sarisa reflecting that her name was Sarisa Hazumi. She was a first year in high school, and she had just experienced her first